My name is Sophia Allen. The message that ended my family arrived on an ordinary Tuesday during my lunch break. The vending machine hummed louder than usual. My phone buzzed once, Dad's name on the screen, then the words that hollowed me out. We're cutting all ties. Don't come around ever again. Before I could blink, my sister reacted with a heart. Just a heart. The kind people use for cute puppies, not disowning someone. I stared at it, then typed one line back. I'll pull my name from all loans tomorrow. By midnight, the family chat was burning. I used to believe family meant safety. That belief sustained me through years of cleaning up other people's messes. I turned panic into payment plans. My father ran a small construction business, always one contract away from success. My mother, Helen, had a talent for turning guilt into currency. A soft voice, trembling hands, always, "We just need a little help, honey." Derek, my older brother, was the golden one. Every bad choice came wrapped in a promise. Just until next month, I was the steady one. The problem solver, the human credit card. When I was 24, they asked me to co-sign a small business loan. "It's just paperwork," Dad said. "You won't even notice," I signed. Then another loan for the truck. Then a line of credit for home repairs. Temporary became our family anthem. Over time, the debt under my name started to look less like help and more like chains. Outside, the Allens looked close-knit. Sunday dinners, matching sweaters, a picture-perfect family on the mantel. Inside, I felt like an unpaid employee keeping the lights on. The family group chat was my second inbox. Bills, reminders, emotional blackmail disguised as gratitude. "You're a lifesaver, Sophia." Then, when I hesitated, "After all we've done for you." That night, after the text, I scrolled back through months of messages. Hearts, crying emojis. Thank you gifts. I stopped at one from Derek, sent years ago. "You always fix everything." I laughed aloud, but it sounded more like a choke. I looked around my apartment. Blazer still draped on the chair, half-eaten sandwich on the desk. Quiet. Peace. I thought about Liam, my boyfriend, and a line he'd once said, "You don't owe love to people who treat it like a loan." Back then I called it cynicism. Now it sounded like prophecy. 2 days before that text, my credit monitoring app sent a notification. Another inquiry under my name, business loan. Amount $80,000. My stomach turned cold. I hadn't applied for anything in over a year. That night I drove straight to my parents' house. The porch light was on, the same one Dad always left for Derek, never for me. Mom opened the door with that soft, rehearsed smile. "You should have called, sweetheart." Inside, Dad sat in his recliner. The TV glowed off his glasses. Derek sprawled on the couch, phone in hand, barely glancing up. I held up my phone. $80,000 taken under my name. You want to explain that? Mom blinked, faking confusion. "Oh, honey, your father just needed an extension for the business." I interrupted. "The business that's been failing for 5 years? You used my credit again." Dad's jaw tightened. "Watch your tone. This family needed you. You're good with money. You can handle it. You mean I can handle your mess?" I asked. Derek finally looked up, smirking. "You're being dramatic. It's not like we're strangers. We share blood, don't we?" I stared at him. "No, Derek. You share debt." The room fell silent except for the TV hum. Mom pressed a hand to her chest. "You're twisting this. We've sacrificed everything for you." I laughed, sharp and tired. "No, Mom, you've spent everything. I just paid the bills." Dad stood, voice rising. "Don't come here blaming us for your selfish choices. You think moving in with that boyfriend makes you better than us." Something inside me snapped clean. Years of guilt, of being the dependable one, snapped like a stretched wire. "You know what?" I said quietly. "I'm done." Derek scoffed. "Done with what? Carrying you?" "I'm done with all of you," I said. Mom's eyes filled with practiced tears. "How can you say that to your family?" "Because it's the truth," I replied. I turned for the door. Behind me, Dad muttered, "Ungrateful." That word landed the way it always had, like a stamp sealing a contract I never signed. The next day, during my lunch break, his message came, "We're cutting all ties. Don't come around ever again." 5 minutes later, Derek reacted with a heart. I stared at the screen, the buzzing lights overhead, the burnt coffee on my tongue. No anger, just clarity. I typed my reply slow and steady. I'll pull my name from all loans tomorrow. Then I locked my phone, sat back, and listened to the vending machine hum. By midnight, the family chat was chaos. Caps, locked accusations, guilt trips, voice messages. I didn't answer. I closed my laptop, drew a long breath, and thought, they think they've punished me. They just set me free. By morning, my phone looked like a crime scene. Dozens of missed calls, voicemails from every family member, the group chat still exploding. Mom, you're tearing this family apart. Dad, you'll regret this. Derek, hope your boyfriend knows he's next on your list. I didn't open a single one. Instead, I brewed coffee, sat at my kitchen table, and opened my laptop. The glow felt like a shield. I typed an email to my bank. I'd like to begin the process of removing myself as co-signer on all active family accounts. Then another to the insurance company. Another to the credit bureau. My fingers moved steady, mechanical. Every click was a reclaiming. Every form a quiet act of defiance. The printer hummed behind me. Page after page slid out. Loan contracts, statements, credit histories. I highlighted my signature lines in yellow. I organized everything into folders. The air smelled like hot paper and ink, like something being purified. At work, Nora peeked over the cubicle wall. Rough day? She asked. Just fixing some paperwork, I said. She tilted her head. You look calmer than I've ever seen you. Yeah, I said. I think I finally stopped drowning. That evening, Liam found me cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by folders. He crouched beside me, reading the titles: loan release, co-signer removal, account closure. They'll hate you for this, he said softly. They already do, I replied. He touched my hand. You don't have to do it alone. I know, I said, but I need to be the one to end it. The next day, I met with a loan officer downtown. His office was quiet. I slid the folder across his desk. I'd like to remove myself from every loan under the Allen family business and personal accounts, I said. He skimmed the papers, brows lifting. That's quite a list. The process isn't simple. I've done harder things, I told him. He studied me for a long moment. You sure about this? Families can ruin you too. The sound of his stamp echoed in the small room like a gavel. For a second, I closed my eyes and listened. It didn't sound like loss. It sounded like freedom. That night, I drove home through steady rain. The windshield wipers kept rhythm with my pulse. My phone buzzed in the passenger seat. Mom, then Dad, then Derek. I turned it face down and let it ring. When I pulled into my parking lot, the city lights reflected off the wet pavement like broken glass. I sat there for a while, engine ticking, thinking about every version of myself that had said yes when she wanted to say no. Inside the apartment smelled like coffee and wet asphalt. I dropped the folders on the counter, poured a glass of water, and felt the smallest flicker of peace. The texts kept coming, but they no longer sounded like orders. They sounded like panic. 3 days later, they stopped pretending to be victims and started showing up. It was Saturday morning. Rain had just broken. I was on the balcony with a cup of coffee when the buzzer sounded. 2 short rings. Liam checked the camera feed and froze. Derek stood outside the gate in a wrinkled suit jacket like armor. Behind him, our parents hovered. Mom held a folder. Dad's jaw was locked so tight the vein on his temple pulsed. I opened the door only halfway. You shouldn't be here, Derek smiled like a salesman. We just want to talk. Don't be dramatic. Dramatic? I repeated. You forged my name on an $80,000 loan. Dad snapped, watch your mouth. You're still our daughter. Funny, I said. You didn't sound so sure when you texted me to never come back. Mom stepped forward, voice trembling just enough to sound practiced. Honey, your father was angry. We all were. But this, she held up the folder. This isn't how we fix things. Liam appeared beside me, quiet and solid. You need to leave, he said evenly. Dad ignored him. You think cutting ties makes you strong? You're destroying us, Sophia. The business is collapsing. We can't refinance without you. The lines were familiar. I'd heard them before. I looked Derek dead in the eye. You don't get to lecture me about lines. You crossed every line when you used me to keep your life afloat. He laughed ugly and desperate. Oh, please. You loved being the hero. Don't pretend you didn't enjoy the praise. That landed. Once I had loved being the dependable one, I'd built my worth around being needed. But that love had rotted into resentment. I met his smirk with calm. You're right, Derek. I did like saving you. But heroes stop showing up when they realize the people they're saving are the villains. His smirk faltered. Mom inhaled sharply. Dad's voice came low and dangerous. This isn't over. You'll regret humiliating your family. The only thing I regret, I said, is not walking away sooner. Liam reached for my hand. Together we closed the door. The click felt heavier than any slam. Outside, someone pounded once, then silence. Hours later, the email started. A message from my father's lawyer. Potential breach of co-signer responsibility. Immediate contact requested. One from the business bank. Account frozen pending verification. Finally, Derek. You've ruined everything. Are you happy now? I stared at the screen until the words blurred. Then I opened my folder of stamped papers, proof that I'd already been released from every obligation. My name was clean. The next morning, I walked into the same bank. The loan officer recognized me and nodded politely. Everything went through, he said. You're officially off the accounts. I smiled for the first time in weeks. As I turned to leave, I caught my reflection in the glass door. Same blazer, same posture. Something different in my eyes. Stillness. Outside, the sky had cleared. That night, Mom left a voicemail. Sophia, please. You don't understand what you're doing. We can't survive this. You're punishing us for mistakes we've already paid for. I hit play just to make sure I'd heard her right. Punishing them. They had drained my credit, my savings, my sanity. The moment I said no, I became the villain. I forwarded the voicemail to my attorney, then blocked the number. We toasted that night with cheap wine. Liam said, "To the end of chaos." I replied, "To the beginning of peace." For the first time, I believed it. But peace doesn't always announce itself quietly. Sometimes it shows up as fallout. A week later, a cousin messaged me. "Your mom's worried, says you're struggling." A woman from our old church texted, "Saw your dad at the store. He said you're unstable. Everyone's praying for you." I laughed. The same people who'd branded me ungrateful were now painting me as broken. I blocked them all. Lying. Beside Liam, I realized they couldn't hurt me financially anymore, so they were trying to rewrite the story. That failed because the people who mattered knew the truth. I turned to him and whispered, "They lost their hold." He brushed his thumb over my cheek, then stopped looking back. I did. Spring came. The mornings felt soft and slow the way they're supposed to. My paycheck stretched the whole month for the first time in years. It felt foreign, almost guilty, to have money that belonged only to me. Weeks later, Aunt Lorraine, the family's self-appointed messenger, sent a link. The Allen house was listed for pre-foreclosure. Photos of empty rooms, peeling wallpaper, a forlorn for sale sign filled the screen. I waited for guilt to hit. It didn't. What I felt was gentler, a mourning for the person I used to be. The daughter who thought love meant rescuing people who refused to swim. That evening, I donated the amount my mother had asked for to a nonprofit that helps women escape financial abuse. I didn't give it to them. I gave it to someone who would use it to rebuild. "You didn't destroy them," Liam said. "You just stopped saving them." I nodded, breathing in the quiet. Months later, sunlight filled our apartment. My phone buzzed with one final message from an unknown number. "We saw you on the company site. Congratulations on your promotion." No name, no explanation. I deleted it without opening the photo attached. That's when I felt it fully. The absence of fear. Not anger. Not revenge. Peace. Sometimes peace costs everything you thought was love. It is worth it. If you've ever had to walk away from the people who kept you small to feel whole again, you are not alone. Share your story below and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next story that reminds you the quietest revenge is finally living.